Okay, so I started the recording. Go for it. Do
All
whatever.
right. Yeah, we're just kind of chilling out. Talking about some Marvel Universal Plus scaling, y'all. Obviously, a lot of downplay going on in the community. There's still like the solar system level stuff. Heck, there's still some people that only think Thor and then planet level. Like, don't want
Don't
to
you
say anything
dare
right out
talk
loud.
about Abe Lincoln that way, sir. He is an innocent schoolboy. He doesn't know that Marvel the verse is above solar system level.
That is funny though. That
I
is
think
really funny.
Mephisto might want to say something about the new scaling, the meta we're trying to put out there. Like, you want to start something off with that, the Universal stuff?
I mean, sure. It just it's getting pretty old just hearing the same old thing over and over again. Oh, Thor is like a planet buster, he's star level. Like it was pretty obvious that like those hero level tiers, like they're doing like casual feats like, oh, Surfer flying through stars, you can blow up a solar system. Those are casual feats for Surfer. Like he's just shitting those out. I heard one guy once said that Surfer at his peak is only like solar system level. This is like totally fallacious. There's like obviously other arguments to say that he's much higher than that. And I will go for anyone who scales to him, like a Thor or an unstable Sentry, or even a stable Sentry, or like the Hulk for one, who has like a ton of universal feats on his own. Um, Thor 2, he has like a bunch of universal feats. Um, they always like to dispute like Hyperion's feats of surviving like two universes, like clashing. I'm not saying those are like planets. For one, that's like during like the beginning of the incursions. It's blatantly saying that two universes are colliding, and like Hyperion just survived that. It's like a universal plus feat right there for durability, and plus like Hulk would scale to Hyperion to like damage Hyperion. And even though Thor hasn't like fought Hyperion himself, he does consistently scale to him, like skin off a Hulk. So I just find it weird that it's that all these people are just saying they're like only planetary or solar system level. It's just getting kind of annoying.
Yeah, and I would like to add on to that, like the whole they always jump to like Surfer, redirecting that whole Unilord blast and vaporizing the solar system, but they don't realize like reading more into that comic, Surfer and him actually were like shaking and even annihilating galaxies and other worlds in their fight, and it's like wow, and like the statement from Doctor Doom, and Surfer's like, yeah, if you misuse my power, I can annihilate the galaxy. And that's actually proven during his fight with Unilord, obviously. Like, so right off the bat, I don't know why it's just like solar system. When in that same fight, they were like threatening and like rotting galaxies. That's the thing. And to add on more like, context on some feats, we have like Thor, like breaking out of like a self-contained universe, like a tesseract, essentially. Thor generating energy in his battle with another Thor, which was compared to the Big Bang itself. Um, Hulk channeling the power, essentially holding the power of two universes. And like some of these feats, like Hyperion surviving the destruction of two universes, you can actually argue that to be baseline low multi. But regardless, they're definitely high into Universal Plus. And obviously, Hulk fighting freaking Nightcrawler. No, they destroyed Nightcrawler's entire dimension while fighting the Nameless One, which was implied to be like, and they was actually like shattering reality as well. So Universal Plus. And there's even another one we recently found to add on. Thor in his battle with Hulk were actually threatening to destroy Hell, which is obviously its own complex universe. It's obviously connected to the World Tree, which have been confirmed to be their own fledged, full-on complex universes. So, right off the bat, it's pretty fallacious to ignore, and more than that are coming to surface. Like we keep finding more and more. And the whole speed thing, that's really sad as well when you think about it, because speed, people still go to these finite speed levels, like 500,000 times the speed of light surfer, trillions. And I'm like, okay, I can understand if you're just now getting into it, and you at least say there are trillions of times the speed of light. Okay, that's cool. But once you get down into it and you start deliberately ignoring certain things, you need to look into the comics, the consistency. Like you have Silver Surfer time traveling, like he was once with Nova, and even Nova was like, wow, what's such speed? And Silver Surfer's like, yeah, if you can go that fast, over like just kind of bragging about it, time traveling so fast. Another scan, we literally see him going so fast, faster and faster, breaking through ether and space, literally time traveling. And around the Earth, he looked like he was doing like that Superman stuff from that movie back in the day. He was literally time traveling. So right off the bat, like 3 immeasurable speeds. We have Thor on a couple different occasions too, showing some day, and it's just insane to think about. And when you think about him crossing these universes, like the Marvel universes are infinite in size as well. So even bare minimum, they're crossing, you know, Surfers and Thor's crossing infinite distances in finite time, bare minimum. Like anything you'd like to add on to the speed meta?
Yeah, I mean, I do find it kind of like annoying to hear people just use these finite speeds like most of the time. Like even in debates, they say like, oh, I ask them sometimes, oh, how high you can get like Surfer? They say, master faster than light. I say, is that the highest you can get him? He said, yeah, there's like nothing else he would be higher with. I'm like,
Let's
wow,
see.
that's pretty sad. And when
legit Surfer's feats of like traversing voids, actually, matter of fact, when Corn and I were debating, and like he was showing off Surfer moving in a void, that by itself would also function as an inaccessible speed feat. Even if you don't want to say that, there's multiple instances where he moves through frozen time quite repeatedly, so you can argue infinite speed as well. And then if you want to upscale past that, obviously there's the immeasurable stuff that was aforementioned before, but like there's a lot more to Surfer than just finite speeds. How high you put above finite speeds, that'd be up for contention, but regardless, he should more or less be above finite speeds though.
like, I also get annoyed when people say like, oh, Thor, like Silver Surfer can't be like immeasurable, like he can't time travel because the only reason he's time travel because he has the power cosmic. He's powered by the power cosmic. That's the only way he can time travel. Like, dude, like if Surfer didn't have the power cosmic, he wouldn't be doing half the shit he'd be doing most of the time, like shooting energy beams. No, he wouldn't be doing that if he didn't have the power cosmic. So saying he has the power cosmic is pretty irrelevant when he's just doing it by sheer speed alone. It's also the same thing applied with like the Flash. Like he's only like able to travel through time because of the Speed Force. If he didn't have the Speed Force, he wouldn't be able to travel like run period as fast as he is period. So saying that they are connected to these power sources and they're able to do this because of that power source is kind of irrelevant.
Oh hey, Goku can only destroy worlds because he has ki. We're like, motherfucker, his shtick is that he has ki.
Yeah, like his punches were literally generating enough power to annihilate a freaking possibly multiversal structure. And that's not even his strongest stuff, so people are like, oh, he needs his ki. Not really, bro.
Yeah.
Like just clashing fists with his freaking purple cat. And yeah, back on like the Flash for a minute.
If you talk about him, he'll erase your soul.
Right? Like he can do that. But and then you got like back on Flash, it's like, yeah, they try to use that argument. And like if you think about it, if you read the panel where Surfer's time traveling, it verbatim talks about speed. It implies he's going faster and faster until he's breaking through the ether and space and time. So it's like it's him doing his raw speed. How else you can misinterpret that?
Besides that, you see him fighting against Thor like all the time, and even though he loses, he still puts up a good fight most of the time. And Thor by himself also has immeasurable speed feats and scaling. So like Surfer should also like scale off Thor.
Yeah, and there's even another time where Surfer could Singularity, which is a place before the known universe. So like before time came into it. So like essentially even more.
Yeah.
Speaking of speed, that reminds me of like versus Battle Wiki having like Hercules that's like hypersonic or something like that. Like early Hercules.
Yeah.
Filth.
I will get into that real quick.
That, oh my god.
That's so filthy.
I'll actually break that down real quick and debunk that really fast, guys, because here they use one random feat, even though we have like dozens of panels of Hercules blow for blow Thor even blitzing this dude in close quarters combat, bullying him. He even tagged an unstable base Sanctuary. Nah, he's only hypersonic, you know? Like, that's the thing. And, like, Ghost Rider, remember that one, Mephisto? Like, they had restricted Johnny at only, like, hypersonic bike speed, even though his, like, bike can travel through dimensions, like, travel through time, freaking outpace Thor's hammer, which is immeasurable. But nah, bro, it's hypersonic plus. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? And even, like, you and I agreed, early Johnny is still street tier level, even in his early days, which means he was scale above Wolverine and them in terms of speed, who are FTO. It's like, what would you say about, like, the Ghost Rider downplay? And then, like, they also downplay like low multi, even though there's consistent multiversal plus scaling now at bare minimum. It's like, why do they ignore the world tree and, like, Loki saying there's infinite Asgards and infinite complex universes connected to it? Like, what the heck, man? You know?
Yeah.
Like the way I see how the world tree works, you have like the 10 realms, which is like the main local universes, what we know now, like the main ones we are like well known for, and then you have like other worlds, like the infinite ones that are implied that are like verbatimly stated to be within Yggdrasil, to be like a greater scope of what the main like true Yggdrasil is. So it's kind of like how DC does like the 52 universes as the main local universes in the main multiverse. Well, we already know there are verbatim statements to say there are like infinite universes within like the main DC multiverse. That's how I see Yggdrasil operating, and many people I've talked about this with like pretty much agree with it. Cause you have to be just ignoring evidence to like keep saying, oh, there's only like 10 realms, so it's just low multiversal, when it's only just the main local universes that we normally see, and there's like statements saying there's like an infinite or like infinite realities or higher planes in the world tree. Not to mention there's like other realms shown to be within Yggdrasil that are not part of like the main like 10 realms that are in the world tree, like Otherworld, for example.
Yeah, and like to add on to that, the world tree itself, there's like a statement from like Odin, how it's literally connected to everything in creation. And even that same scan, it confirms there are universals as size as well, like universal size realms. So it's like some people still, I've heard people argue they're unquantifiable realms, like on stupid sites like Comic Vine, saying they're on like planet in size and stuff like that. Like, where do you get that at? Like, Comic Vine though.
I just find it just pretty odd that it's just still being called like finite numbers, and just ignoring like other evidence saying there's like more than just 10.
Yeah, it's also it's sad when people like go off that one statement of Odin only being able to blow up planets, and like there's people that say Odin is still only finite speed, even though like even disregarding immeasurable speed for him, he literally pulled planets across an infinite distance in like a split second when he was fighting Surtur. That's literally an infinite speed feat right there. Across the infinite universe within like literally a split second. That's literally infinite speed. But obviously he scales above Surfer. He scales to an average fed Galactus who has immeasurable speed himself. Like Odin gets slept on in these debates and on these wikis.
Yeah, it just gets pretty old hearing the same like tale over and over again, and no one's like taking out the account to actually read the comics, or just going out for their own and finding what's actually out there instead of hearing it from other people who supposedly think they're reading the comics, but they're actually not. They're just reading from like respect threads or docs.
I know, like, and that's the thing. It's not even part of it is that it just makes you look really fallacious reading verbatim off a thread. It's different to get a scan and try to like look at the context, but you don't understand the scaling though. That's what, like Rodco, for example. I mean, you know, that's the dude who just verbatim, he's already been exposed anyways. But at the end of the day, that's a good example of what we're talking about. Like copy and pasting word for word, but don't even look at the context. You don't understand the cosmology, like the scaling, etc., of what you're actually talking about. And it's like he still thinks characters like Oblivion and them are like outer, like multiversal, I should say. He only thinks like multiversal, like he did with like Unicron, for example, only multiversal, which was surprising, but that's still weak compared to what he actually is.
And there you have the 90% of the debate community that's ignorant, but Danko being the one that's closed-minded. As usual.
Yeah, it's actually kind of sad that Death Battle has fully surpassed like him and AR at this point. I would say, like, a lot of people would agree with that on AR, but I would definitely say he's surpassed Danko tremendously. Like, Death Battle at least puts more effort to it these days. They actually have real power scalers on there for certain episodes now. It's kind of crazy.
Heck, their latest Death Battles average at best. It's kind of scary. Meanwhile, like, AR is just like trash and garbage. And like Denko, we don't talk about sin around here, boy.
Yeah. And it's like crazy when people like still to this day, let's get on the Superman real quick, because that's like the real, another bullshit. Like Superman, people try to bring him getting knocked out by the Shadow Man. And I've talked about Mephisto, and we both know that's early post, like in his early days. And what people don't realize, that actually is a dwarf star level feat, not just a moon feat. And if you actually read the comics, he pulls a Goku. He consistently grows higher and higher to the point where he was matching his pre-crisis self, shattering timelines and stuff. So it's like, okay.
You hear that? 9 feats. Let's go over it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 moon to planet level feats. That's a lot.
I don't understand how people can still say Superman's like solar system level when there's like 60 plus, even more universal feats, and out of like 11, some of the 11 solar system level feats are not even solar system level. Some of them are like 1A or like multi-solar.
Yeah, it's just, bro. At the end of the day, Marvel is in a lot better place than what people are giving credit for. Same with DC, but
yeah. And you know, and when it comes to those two, obviously that's really heated, but most of us honestly agree it's objective. DC is bigger in terms of cosmology and overall high outer and stuff like that. But Marvel is outer. I want to get into that real quick. Like, that's what people don't realize. People dog on Marvel. They're blatantly outerversal, but they're just not on the same level as DC in that regard. That's the thing.
yeah.
There's no reason to downplay both. There's just reason to give them both the justice they deserve. Marvel has less of a cosmology at this point, but they're slowly creeping up. Like, again, Eternity embodying outerversal realms, for God's sakes. I mean,
Yeah,
but
like, because, like, here's what you're dealing with when dealing with DC, right? You have Outerversal, infinite layers in Outerversal. You have platonic concepts that stack on top of Outerversal to the Outerversal. Beyond that, by an inaccessible, if not irrelevant degree, parallel. And then after that, you stack on platonic concepts. And after that, you stack on some other crazy shit. And then finally, you finally arrive at Final Heaven, where, like, it kind of bullies, like, Marvel. Like, basically, like, Milkman Man, if you give him, like, a bad burrito, and like, he farts, all of Marvel is kind of, like, erased on a narrative level.
yeah, and I can agree. You and I already agreed, like, as long as we both agree Marvel is outer, I'm fine with you saying these other consistent high outer verses and stuff like that beat him. I just want justice to Marvel and I want justice,
Now, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters that DC beats Marvel or Marvel
I don't care
like, scale somehow to DC. I think at the end of the day, as long as we can agree both verses are like a lot higher than fucking hyperversal or just outerversal, then Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I will admit, yeah, the higher tiers in DC overall beat the higher tiers in Marvel, but I would like to point out street tier is more debatable. A lot of street tier Marvels do dominate a lot of street tier like base DC characters, like
Yeah.
Wolverine type stuff and Batman base, you know.
Yeah, like Batman versus Cap is always a classic one. Although you'll usually see like Batman win because he has prep, or Cap wins because of his martial arts.
Yeah, like if it's a normal encounter, what I mean, that's why Black Panther, I would say, just because Batman in a normal encounter doesn't have any way to get past that suit, and Panther would edge you out in terms of speed and strength slightly as well. So,
Yeah.
and they both mastered every style.
It's just once you start stacking on the crazy shit is when it's like, why does this exist now? So, because
You
like
can
you have
both prep,
Nth
it's
Metal
over.
Batman, because like you have Nth Metal Batman, you got like Hellbat Batman, and then like yeah, arguably like the Justice Buster suit, right? Well, that's not universal. I'm not really sure, but like
That's
Batman
kinda-
also
well, he
does
was
have the
kinda
Radion,
fighting-
you know, the Platonic Bullet. So like he has
Well,
more
the
than enough
Justice
to like deal with
Buster-
Marvel, but it's like
I'll say like the Justice Buster was fighting like heavily suppressed. I think they were fighting like heavily suppressed mind control, weren't they? Like so they weren't even nowhere near full potential Justice League. Like
Yeah.
Mephisto, you got anything on that?
I mean, in that issue, like they weren't really mind controlled. They were just Batman was like supposedly on the World Forger's side, but they didn't know. So they were I think they were holding back against Batman, but Batman was like trying to incapacitate them or seemingly take them out so he can like convince the World Forger. But he was actually buying time for Superman.
Okay.
yeah. So like I mean, even then, right? The Justice Buster is usually a weird one either way, but anyway, the point is that like the street tiers are debatable between like
A lot
Marvel and
more,
DC,
yeah.
but like Marvel kind of loses its edge after like street tiers are higher.
Yeah, well, Mephisto would agree as well. Like there are some hero level characters you can put against like some suppressed DC hero quote unquote level characters. Like there are some matches. It's just hard to. The bottom line is you can get like DC tiers in the same tier of power, like Universal plus the low multi, but it comes down to like the degrees of immeasurable speed. There's just nothing that suggests Marvel's on that tier of immeasurable. Like they're high, possibly even irrelevant speed for some of these DT like Superman level characters in certain incidents. That's the thing. Like Marvel's reaching immeasurable to low degrees on that level, but hell, that's insane to think about. Superman level characters have arguments for consistent irrelevant speed. So yeah,
Yeah. So
and like the Knight and I even agreed the other day. Yeah, Hercules would be able to fight a suppressed post-crisis Superman in terms of attack power, but everywhere else he's outclassed big time.
yeah. But anyway,
But other than that,
but anyway, at the end of the day, like again, like the up team time, like Marvel is clearly above High Hyperversal and should be like 1A. So
yeah, high end, like even again, we can say the Toa, the one above all, is infinitely into normal outer versal,
Yeah.
but there's just nothing
yeah, no,
high,
I don't.
yeah, high outer.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem where like people could put Regulator, Thanos, Toa, you know, Oblivion. I couldn't really care, right? That's not really my territory. But it's like, I know when someone's downplaying Marvel, or when like they're wanking off.
Wanking them too.
Yeah.
Like you know,
so
like you already took care of
it's
that.
just- I think the more people that learn about the Outerversal stuff, the more like people will like have a better understanding of like what are arguing Marvel consistently. So anyway, I think that's it for the recording.
Yeah, Knight, you want to add anything else real quick?
Yeah, I just want to say that I prefer DC like in terms of like how I prefer DC in terms of like power and like with stories like Marvel. But I'm not gonna like come out here and say that base Superman solo is Marvel. Like no, I'm not one of those people that say that. But I will say that if you factor in like a comp Superman, yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah. Just like fallacious stuff like that either.
Yeah.
It's just like
So
I there the other day, like Superman and Thor, they're not going to just start off trying to one-shot each other if you go in character. Obviously, bloodlusted, Superman's going to end it quick because he can blitz. He's a higher degree of immeasurable.
yeah.
And just resistances all day for what Thor can do, and like the concept of hope. He's literally Type 8 immortality. The story of Superman bullshit. We already know.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So.
All right, y'all.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed this little recording.
Peace.
See ya.